Hi, this is Leonard Davis, and I'm here with the Newport Beach Historical Society interviewing former Mayor Don Webb.
Okay. And tell us about that campaign.
Well,
I mean, I know you got a reputation for walking every street in the city at least once, and some of them perhaps more than that.
well, I started off with the walking Newport in 1990, and it was mainly the arterials and the public streets, none of the private streets. Then I walked all of the streets, including the private streets, in '97, and then in 2000 to celebrate the city's the millennium, so to speak. But then again, when I started my campaign in 2002, I said, well, gee, I ought to cover all the streets again. So
you
I
rewalked it.
I rewalked them. At that time, it was a little more difficult to do that because you had a whole bunch of private streets, particularly the ones up in Newport Coast. But it was really interesting. It was my method. I was able to meet the homeowners association members, and it was part of my activity to.
So did you arrange ahead of time, like you said, okay, I'm coming to this development and I'd like to meet with people there? Okay.
And
did you knock on doors at all?
I in the private communities, they respect their privacy, and the association members would usually walk along with me, but I did not knock on doors in the private communities, but I did in almost all of the other area. I didn't hit every house, of course, but there was many of them. My opponent was Alan Beek.
Oh, okay.
And Alan Beek was, as you know, was very part of the Beek family and the Ferries, and he's one of three brothers that very prominent within the community over the years. And I first came across him on the Bike Trails Committee in 1969. So the two of us had acquaintances for many, many years, and we it was not we didn't go around calling each other's names and that type of thing. It was a friendly competition between the two of us, and he thanks me to this day for winning the election.
Really? And why is that? Just
well, because he saw all the things that happened and after it occurred, and he felt that he would rather have me handle all those various different city meetings instead of him.
That's a great quote. I like that quote. So you were on the council for, I guess, 8 years.
8 years. That's correct.
They've termed it out now. So to 2010. And what year were you the mayor? Oh, I guess
I was mayor in 2006, which is the city's centennial, and I have the city's centennial shirt. Ren Spooner put out a centennial edition of his shirts for that year, and that was a interesting event for us to hold. We started off with a Beach Boys concert in September of 2005. At the Dunes.
Yeah, I went to that.
And which was well attended, and leading up to we had citizen participation in putting together the city's float for the Rose Parade, and I'm one of the very few people that attended the two times that it rained in the parade. One was back in the 50s, and I came over from Tucson at that time with my parents, and it rained on us that day, but it poured on 2006. I mean, it just absolutely poured the entire race, and the entire parade. And we wore slickers and tried to have a brave smile on our faces, but it was cold and wet.
What day of the month, or do you remember what day that was?
Well, it was the 2nd of January, because the 1st of January was on Sunday. There's a picture on the wall over there right over here of the parade, of the float.
Okay.
And we were in it, but that was one of the events that that we had. We put together a calendar for kids around the schools. That I found a Disney cartoonist that put together a calendar for us, and we had programs in some of the schools which talked about the city's history.
So you must have been proud to be mayor at that time, because
Very definitely.
It was probably the most fun you had as mayor, right?
Well, people got tired of hearing me talk about the history, I think.
So how long were you mayor for? But just
a year.
1 year, okay. Do you have any? What's the most difficult thing you had to face while you were mayor of Newport Beach, other than the rainy parade?
The most difficult thing.
I mean, that was probably the most fun thing. So,
Well, it was.
this has been something that
One of the
frustrated
things,
heck out of you.
one of the things that happened that year is we were concluding the general plan update, and that was something that the city had been working on for 5 or 6 years. But we were able to finish up all the hearings on that and actually adopt a new general plan for the city. And so I guess that would be considered the most difficult item.
Okay, but it happened. It worked out. So it wasn't something that didn't work out, right? I mean, you got it done.
I'm very proud of our general plan. I know that we're looking at updating it again, but
And how much involvement did you have in the decision to relocate City Hall? Was that pretty much after you were in, or
well,
and they must have started the process?
To be truthful, I started doing studies on new city hall sites before I retired in 2001. We looked at sites all over the city, and I was really pushed for the site that we have right now, because some of the other alternatives. Like sharing a building with the Irvine Company, or
that would have been too cozy, I think.
trying to tear down the existing facility and build a whole new one would have worked, but it was very cramped area, and it would have been difficult to keep on city business going. And at the time, there wasn't room to just add more facilities. The City Hall site, the old City Hall site. Had already been added on to about 4 or 5 different times, and we were running out of space.
So, since being mayor, have you thought of any other political offices, or?
Absolutely not. I'm perfectly happy to sit back and offer comments, but I don't need to continue a political career.
Have people suggested it? Or?
No.
Okay, sorry. Okay, well, is there anything else that you would like to tell us? Because our time is getting close to the end here, but maybe something that we haven't covered, or just a general thing about living in Newport Beach, or a comment about that?
I do a lot of traveling with my wife on vacations and to different parts of the country and world. And I have not found a place that I feel is better than Newport Beach. Year-round, we have the best climate and the best people and atmosphere to live in of any place I've found. And so that I feel that I was really lucky to find this as a home, and plan on spending the rest of my days here, and even have a plot up at Pacific View so I can look down on the city from under the ground.
Okay. Well, I guess that's the final comment then. My grandmother's there. She was one of the first in. She's right in the front row.
Well, I want to join John Wayne and Kobe Bryant.
All right. Well, thank you very much. This is Don Webb, and we've interviewed here our former mayor, and my name is Leonard Davis, and wonderful interview. Thank you, sir.